Hello, Facebook. This is Storm First Class, Nick Marshall here at the Loft, right?
Yeah.
With my good friend, Mr. Brian Prawitz. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Good. Well, I've been really excited about this because a little bit of history with us is we've kind of always known each other doing community events. If you do anything in this community, you already know who this guy is. Me, not so much. But right before we got ready to go to Iraq, it was me or you, somebody said, let's do a radio show every Tuesday. And so, in short, it was real fun to be able to call home every Tuesday, talk about what our soldiers were doing overseas, what was going on overseas, something that was like from a soldier on the ground, not necessarily what you see in the major media and stuff. And so that was a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, that is like one of the big major things that got me interested in social media, marketing, going back to school for that. So I have a lot
Really?
to thank you for that.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't know that had such an impact on you.
It did. And what's really neat is like I've always been on his shows. He gets to be on my show now.
There's probably 10 times more viewers and listeners than when I was on the show that I was on.
Okay, so there's a list of things that you are and do. So
Hold on, wait.
Can you just go down?
No, wait. The Tuesday call to Iraq was on News Radio 1240 KQEN, and it was the highlight of my week every single week to talk to Nick and find out what was happening in Iraq, and it was pretty special because there's certain clearances. I mean, there's a little bit of security that goes on there. I don't know how many other people got a chance to call back home from where they were from and talk on the radio for 30 solid minutes once a week to talk about what was going on. It was really unique. It was really special. And when these guys came home, we put on a pretty major parade that you can still find on YouTube. Actually, it was incredible. And I was presented with a flag that flew on September 11th of 2011.
Yeah.
And
no, it was 2010.
It's my prized possession.
Oh, man.
I have a lot of stuff that's important to me, but if you go in my office right now, that flag's sitting, it's in a triangular case, and some people think that means that I lost a soldier. But no, I tell them, no, I got that for something I did on the radio. That was such an honor. I mean, really just a major, major honor. So we
literally flew that flag above our battalion headquarters right in the face of the enemy. And
that's the line I like the most.
Yeah, and it was just for the short time that it was up there, because we flew a lot of flags that day, just the dust that was on it. I mean, it was really neat, and we folded it up right then and there, and it was cool. I'm glad I was able to do that for you.
That was cool. Yeah. Okay, you were asking me another question.
Okay, so I know you're on your own business. You're a Roseburg City Councilman. You volunteer everywhere. I mean, I can't think of too many other people out here that's as rooted in the community as you.
Thank you.
And so I have many, many reasons. I have a lot of respect for this guy, and I'm looking at the camera, not so much you over there.
Yeah, that's fine. So the camera right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was thinking of like, who do I go to about marketing? This is the number one person that came to my mind. And I learned so much from you with, what you do, mimicking a lot of the things that you do. I don't have to pay for that.
No, you don't.
Okay. So
great ideas are borrowed most of the time. It's okay.
So
if you're borrowing any of my ideas, it means they're good ideas. Yeah, so I guess I'm flattered.
If you like what you see on my social media, it's because of him. If you don't like it, it's because I thought of something totally on my own.
I doubt it.
Okay. So I'll stop talking. Can you tell me about what you have been doing lately so they know I know your credibility, but I want them to get excited about you.
I'll see what I can do to help my credibility. A lot of people still think that I'm on the radio, and I left the radio station in November of 2013 and took a marketing position at Seven Feathers. I was the assistant marketing director there, and I stayed there until May of 2015 when I launched BP Media. BP Media Solutions was and is my attempt to be a marketing agency, a marketing firm. But when you think of a marketing agency, a lot of times that's really big city type activity. I don't really know. I mean, everybody would have their own opinion of what a marketing agency would look like. But what I wanted to do was give marketing help to smaller businesses. And in fact, we've done that at BP Media. even to the point of nonprofits that we do a lot of work for. So I am a volunteer in a lot of ways, in a lot of places, but I've also figured out a way to take that volunteering passion and the network that I had created and create a business around it. And so that is one of the main things we do with BP Media Solutions. So we do social media, website management, and then produce and purchase and manage print, newspaper, TV, outdoor, you name it. If you can advertise on it, basically I do that for my clients. And it's funny because I remember the first time somebody asked me that question, oh, what do you market? I didn't have my elevator pitch. I didn't have any way to explain what we were doing. And in fact, the first time I got asked that question, I probably didn't even have any clients yet. So I didn't even know what we did. But basically, if our clients need it, we take care of it for them when it comes to writing or proofreading or editing something or creating anything that goes in front of other people to help them get convinced to purchase from that business.
Sweet. Can you talk about your clients, or do they prefer you don't say anything?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I guess you can go to my website and see a list of my clients, okay. But stuff you would see around town that I have my voice on or worked on. I do a lot of work for Big O Tires, and I do a lot of work for the Roseburg Senior Center. You'll see a bus running around town that says Save the Roseburg Senior Center.org. That was created completely by my vision and some photographers and other people, and we put together this cool campaign. And then also you see Park Medical Group. There's an ad on that bus too, on one of the buses, the same bus, it looks like, although they're on a couple. So yeah, those are a few of my clients, but we do a lot of work with event planning and consulting with nonprofits on how to raise money and how to go about staying in touch with their audience. We talk a lot about cold audiences versus warm audiences. So if you're putting resources out there to an audience that doesn't know you exist, then you're spending a lot of money on people that may never do business with you. If you're advertising to people who've already done business with you, you have a much higher rate of success because they already have a level of confidence with you. So we talk about that a lot at BP Media.
Nice.
Yeah.
So to take a step back into your news radio days, I got to talk about our events coming up. So can you give the pitch for our next drill weekend, like an intro?
For your next drill weekend?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I was just being silly.
Yeah. Like you want like are you ready to rumble or something?
Yeah,
which I can't even say publicly. I think that's trademarked. I just broke a rule trying to help you out.
And so every time we get on the radio, I'd always, basically I just have to stand there and be quiet because he goes right into his intro, he starts talking, and then he introduces me. So that's where I was coming from, but I was setting him up for failure. So okay. So in the news, National Guard this weekend, this Saturday, if you are interested in coming out for what we call a Guard for Day, that means if you would like to pretend to be a soldier, on the job training, a job shadow, whatever you want to call it, you can come out and participate in our training. And if you want to go, just let me know, but I know you're super busy. What are we going to do this weekend? Well, we're going to take out our Zodiac rafts. And so we'll be paddling around the lake, doing some different maneuvers and working as a team. And you can check out my Facebook page and see a video from a few years back, some photos. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's definitely one of those ways of training where we have a lot of fun, but yet also building our soldiers' confidence and preparing them for basic training. So if you'd like to come participate in that, please let me know, and we can invite you to come along.
Where's that going to be?
Springfield.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where we meet up.
Let me ask you a question because
remember when we were doing the Iraq show and you'd ask me a question, I'd be like, I can't talk about that.
Yeah.
I can't talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
Operational security.
No, you'll be able to operational security. I'll ask you a question that doesn't have anything to do with operational security.
Okay.
I'm so fascinated right now with the dynamics around groups and people buying into a common goal and putting their opinions aside and all that kind of stuff and just putting the team above themselves. And the camaraderie that comes from that and the benefit that comes from that is unbelievable and very satisfying, very rewarding, especially when you accomplish something that you know you could not have done on your own. am I just talking right into the wheelhouse of what the National Guard is about?
Yeah, I guess we're going right into what our segment today is. So today we're talking about how to market yourself for employers. This guy here has some people that work for him, and he's had people work for him in other businesses and organizations. So he's an employer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you're interested in people that know how to work as a team is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. And I'm thinking that confidence building, team building exercises like what you just talked about that's coming up this weekend plays right into being able to tell an employer, hey, I understand what it is to operate for the sake of the team. I mean, the commitment level that any soldier puts forward is ultimately about that too. I'm willing to put my life on the line for the sake of the team. And in this case, in a lot of cases, the team might be the US of A or your unit, team. Right? So, man, I'm fired up.
Yeah. So I think one thing that a lot of people nowadays, mainly youth, that they are lacking is the idea of experience. So like a lot of people know they need to go to college, they need to get an education. And I'm a big proponent of that. I go to school and I'm huge into that. But I also think experience is super big as well. So when you're looking at an employer, you're like, not only do I have the education, but I've done stuff. And so the employer, hey, can you work as a member of the team? Sure. But it's, I can do that. Well, prove it. What have you done as a team member? Have you been a leader? Have you been a follower? Show me something that you've done that makes you credible in that statement. And I think that's one of the greatest things about the National Guard is like, I don't know if brag about it is the term I want to use, but for lack of a better word on the moment, like I can promote myself and say, I've worked as a member of a team. I've led people or I've been a follower. Matter of fact, I can see my boss has joined in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we should sit up straight.
Yeah, sit on steps on straight. My boss. Okay, so I got distracted.
Yeah,
okay, so teamwork, experience. What else would you promote for a quality employee marketing yourself?
Well, you referred to it as bragging, but when you are looking for a job, when you're marketing yourself to an employer, that is the one time it's okay to brag. You have to be able to brag. You have to speak confidently about yourself. Okay. And what's even better sometimes is having other people speak confidently of you. Okay. So if you have teammates, if you have a reference in the Guard, they can tell that employer, Brian started out at the very beginning, he did everything at the very bottom of the ladder, and he worked his way up to a leadership position because he's right? Yeah. So now you've got, you may be able to explain in a resume all the things you've done in a chronological order over time, but that's good. But the thing that will make a difference is having that reference say, this person is, all the things that they have written in their resumes are correct, and here's another side to them, and here's why they've succeeded. Yeah. So you in your resume, you can set that up certain ways. So in a typical resume, you'll have high school experience, maybe a little data about yourself, maybe what your goals are, then your high school and how you did in high school, and your extracurricular activities and your references. But on that page, you should also have your quotes from your references. You should have what that person's going to say about you in quotes. Ask your friends, ask people that know you for quotes about you. Maybe tell them what it is you're applying for, or I want to be this. Can you give me a quote that would describe why I'm going to be good at that job? And just collect, even if you can get 5 of those, and you have great quotes that go next to your references that say, Brian started at the bottom of the ladder and he worked his way up into a leadership position. I mean, that may be the same thing the person tells your potential employer, but they can expand on that if the employer keeps asking other questions. So that's just one thing I think of in trying to get that job and to get other people to say nice things about you, because then they're more believable. If I'm just sitting here talking about all the great stuff I've done, I could be making it all up. And in fact, I would be, because, yes, so you don't want to embellish. Don't do that. But
So a question that I get from employers all the time, because I really like it when my soldiers ask me to write a letter of recommendation. Like I feel that they value my opinion that much that they're asking me to write a letter about them. So one thing I always have to do is think about what their weakness is. So like I'll get people on the phone, they say, the employers are like, this is the hardest question. What's a weakness about this person? You know, and for me, I want to be honest. I want to tell them my honest assessment of that person, but I also try and spin it in a way that is very positive. You know, like, you know, maybe they don't have a lot of experience in the field that they're applying for, but even though they have lack of experience, I can tell by A, B, and C that they have the motivation and the drive and they want to do this, that they're going to be a quality employee for you. So do you think it would be worth talking to the people that are going to be a reference or write letters of recommendation about what their weakness is? So when that person, that reference gets the call, they don't say something dumb.
You can even ask them, hey, what are you going to say about my weaknesses, right? Or, and if that person's really honest, I'll tell you, one of the hardest things about getting your references set up is the amount of time they take to actually think about what they're going to say on your behalf. A lot of people will be like, oh, I'd be happy to be your reference, Nick, no problem. Okay. But the conversation needs to go a little bit further. And one of those questions would be, first of all, can I get a quote from you so I can put you down in my references here on my resume? But the other would be, hey, I know they're going to ask you about weaknesses. Would you please think about what my weakness is? In fact, you might even bring that up and say, I think when I worked for you, one of my weaknesses was I was a little bit, I didn't ask enough questions. Remember that time I should have asked 5 more questions? I've kind of learned that now. And you knew me then, and I've had 2 jobs since then, but you're still my reference. And one of the things I learned from you that I took into my next job was ask more questions. You taught me that thing. You know, that could be a useful way to take one of your weaknesses and really turn it into a strength. And we all have weaknesses, and you do have to be honest about them. Maybe one of your weaknesses is you jump to conclusions, or you're maybe you're. What do you?
We had this conversation when I was running for city council, and you said you're too nice. Oh, like you got to be more stern and put the foot down a little bit.
Yeah,
and like it shocked me because most people get like in trouble for being too mean or harsh, and you were telling me I was being too nice, so I had to toughen up a little bit to people.
Yeah, well, when I'm telling somebody that one of their weaknesses is they're too nice, that's the old pot calling the kettle black, I think, because I'm too nice, probably too. So maybe I should have called you and asked you for your advice. You could have handed it back to me.
Well, I was thinking like, okay, so like in my career field where I'm interviewing people all the time and talking to them about their opportunities in the National Guard, like a lot of people don't have references. Like they're either young and they don't know a lot of people. I feel that there's a problem in our community where social activities other than social media, you know, not a lot of people participate in the Boy Scouts or, you know, their churches, and they're not out doing things, you know. And so I was thinking, like with the Guard, we have over 7,000 soldiers in our organization, and there's a huge networking opportunity there for references and employment. Can you tell me what you think about networking and how maybe networking got you in the right places, or the importance of networking?
Oh man. I mean, you get to where you get because of the people you know, not necessarily how smart you are. It's who you know. You hear that all the time. Your dad or grandpa or uncle or somebody would tell you it's who you know, not what you know. So creating a network of people is vital. And so, yeah, if you don't have a ton of experience, but you literally go to battle with somebody, even if it's in a simulated situation, you're out there in this team building exercise like we talked about this weekend, the trust and the vulnerability you might show from time to time when you show your weaknesses and somebody accepts you anyway and wants to help build you up, man alive, there's some lifetime relationships that get created there. And as those people that you go through that experience with grow themselves in their field of expertise, they're going to get to places and they're going to remember back and they're going to say, oh man, Nick's my guy. I know I can trust him, so I'm going to put him on my team. Even if he isn't a perfect fit, he's the best person I know, and I'm going to bring him over to my team. That is very, very important.
I'll always be thankful for my recruiter, and he might be watching this and stuff, but that's how I got into recruiting. Is he mentored me, he helped me. I made a friend in the National Guard, and I wanted to fly helicopters, but I just found my niche in recruiting, and because of it, I've had a 17-year career now. Thinking about making it a career. So,
yeah. What are you going to be when you grow up anyway?
Still working on that. So because of that networking and helping out and volunteering a lot of times, that helped me get the education I needed to be able to apply confidently for this position. So
yeah, I couldn't do or experience all the things that I'm getting to do right now in any other place. Roseburg has literally saved my family and I because of the amazing response that I got when I started my business. And a lot of those volunteer opportunities that I took earlier turned around and really helped me out. And it wasn't because of anything other than people saw my true character in action and then wanted that. And that's been huge. I appreciate that every day. And that's one reason why I wanted to get into being a city councilor, because once I left the casino, I was working in Roseburg, in downtown Roseburg in the loft. And I had my home in Roseburg and raised my girls in Roseburg. And so it was like, how can I give back?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at. That's why I'm sitting right here with you.
Yeah. Well, I was watching your social media all through the campaign, and that it was kind of neat because I got to see how you think more in your ideas that you want to bring to the table. And like everything you said, I was just agreeing with. And like, even though I had a different opinion on things, but after I heard your side of the story and what you learned, like I changed my opinion on a few issues. And
well, there's not very many people like you. Let me tell you.
But it's difficult.
Plenty of people keep their opinion about after I've explained it. They're still like, no, you're wrong.
So like, I thought your social media was very helpful with that. Because I just learned more about you just as a friend and the way you thought and things like that. But like you have a grasp on the social media, and if you want to plug it, you can here. Whatever you have that you use. But,
well, Facebook. I mean,
okay.
I'm not young enough to use Instagram correctly, and Snapchat.
I'm still learning it.
I've seen the filters on Snapchat. That's all I know it does. I don't know. All I was make a dog face.
So
that's all I know.
So that leads me right into my next subject that I was thinking about is like social media. A lot of times when I interview somebody, one of the first things I do is I go hit their social media account, and I want to see what they're into, what are they posting, their drama. What could you advise people about like do's and don'ts with the social media?
Folks, you are marketing yourself every single day. Period. Yeah. You're marketing yourself. When you post something on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you're at, whatever your platform is, you're giving off indications of the type of person you are. Yeah. Period. Yeah. So think about that. I think I know what kids, I'm saying kids. I have daughters who are 22, 19, and 16. And so I've seen everything come along. I know. I think I know what the thought process is. I think what they think is that there's going to be some kind of pass from the potential employer because it was on social media and they were young, or if they say something it turns out to be really, really stupid, that because nobody ever says anything stupid on their social media stuff, that somehow that's going to be disqualified because that's a different section. Like that's off limits. I think they are thinking that way. I also know, I remember what it's like to be that old, even though it was a long time ago. Honestly, you're not thinking that far ahead. But you have to think, if you're in high school, the stuff you're posting on your threads are there until you delete them. And sometimes even after, and they get spread all over the place. So you can delete it off yours, but it's still going to be out there on somebody else's if they've shared it or whatever. So anyway, every single thing that you're posting out there, you're marketing yourself. So you have to be pretty smart. Somebody said, I read a thing in the paper the other day that said you should only post things to social media that you want your grandmother to know. outside of that, you better clean it up. You don't want to say these things. There's so many people are so willing to jump on either a disagreement or into an argument or post details about themselves. You should not post a picture of the welt on your backside, which is why you're at the doctor today. You just shouldn't do it. It's not smart. No one cares. And it's not like an employer is going to see that and not hire you. And I'm sure there's a fine line for employers too, that they need to think about that.
Yeah.
But maybe the way to put it would be this. Anything you post on your social media, be prepared to answer a question about.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
So, because the employer, an employer probably, there may even be rules about this, probably can't legally fire you. Well, I don't know. I mean, social media stuff gets into a lot of people post stuff, they get fired.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's all in play. Yeah. Where I was going is, you may think that an employer shouldn't use that to decide, but subconsciously or consciously they do. And what they see, they should ask you about, and you should be expecting to have to answer questions about it. I guess I've been rambling a while.
Well, no, I think social media reflects your character as a person. And I think that sometimes people don't think about character and their values and their morals. You know, we see in the news every day that people are relieved because they made bad decisions or did this or what they said something inappropriate. Well, social media, it's like in real life, you could say something inappropriate and you might be able to battle it out because it may not be really any witnesses. But on social media, like they see it and it's there and locked in and somebody screenshots it, whatever. It's really hard to fight when it's the truth. You know, they can see it right then and there. So, but I think the morals and our values are very important. Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, honor, selfless service, personal courage, integrity. Those are things that we live by. And I think that when you have, like on your resume, if it says something like the Oregon National Guard, they are going to pretty much assume that you have those character traits and those values and those morals behind you, and it kind of speaks for yourself.
They're also going to know right off the bat that you do have a network of people who know you really, really well. Mm-hmm. So whether that's SFC Marshall here or somebody else, they're going to know as soon as they see National Guard, there's got to be 20 people that know this person really, really well. And those people better be on your reference list so they can tap into that network and get an honest opinion about you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I forgot to mention this, but if you all that are watching, if you do have questions for myself or for him, please feel free to ask a question. And if we miss you and you're watching this later on and you have a question, please let me know and I'll ask him and get back to you.
Yeah. Random questions on Facebook. Oof. Could be frightening.
I didn't have a mail call today because nobody emailed me. So I've got felt lonely this week. So.
Yeah. You know what I like about this? Here's what I like about the fact you're doing this. 80% done is better than 100% perfect.
Yeah.
People will put an idea aside because they haven't figured out all the details, and then they miss out on the cool stuff that can be worked out over time once you've done it a couple times. And you just went for it, man. You just went and did this. Yeah. I think it's a great idea. This is a great platform to use.
Yeah.
This also will sit on Facebook forever until we're dead, and even after, which hopefully is a long, long time. It'll be here forever. Who knows what we've said today that'll be used against us at some point.
That's the thing about social media. I mean, you get promoted or fired.
Have I said I don't know if I've said anything offensive or anything.
Yeah.
So, or that will get me, not reelected to city council or whatever. But I love this. This is the idea. Like, hey, you don't have to have all the answers to make decisions. Sometimes you just have to have a really good feeling it's going to work, and then you go for it, and then you work out the details as they go. That's kind of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My biggest frustration as a recruiter is, like, I see quality people out there all the time, and I know that they would make magnificent soldiers, and they're just so like, I don't know if I should do it. I don't know if I should do it. And they've already let the fear stop them before they even committed. And there's so much what ifs out there. And I could give you statistics, I could give you numbers, I could give you whatever you want to know, the probability of this. But really the point is people just lack confidence, and they're afraid to take that step. And I'm not talking about like a deployment overseas. I talk with my hands, and you can't see my hands until I do it. I'm not talking about deployments overseas. I'm talking about just like coming to my office and talking to me, or going to basic training. Those are the things that people are struggling with nowadays. And I just hope that people will reach out, ask questions, have the confidence to come talk to me. It doesn't mean that you have to join. It just means that you're coming to learn. A funny thing is I'm just keeping my options open. Like, they'll text me that. I'm like, okay, what are you doing? Well, I'm researching my options. And I'm like, well, do you want to talk to me about this? No. I guess you're not researching all of your options, are you? So it's funny.
Yeah.
So
I think about college. You mentioned something earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
College is a very important step. Everybody needs some sort of post-high school graduation, education. And really, you should never stop learning, ever. So I'm thinking, if I'm a high school age person or a little bit older that wants more training, I'm thinking about the college options that I have. But then I think the experience that you get with the National Guard could basically equal or balance the concept of, well, I don't have an education as much. Of course, you can also get that paid for, right?
Yeah.
So that can be something you still go to. But if the reasoning for not going to college and going into the Guard, let me turn that around. If the idea is that you want to go to college because you're trying to get a job, you can also make your resume outstanding through experience. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to get to. So the experiences, the network that you create, the experiences that you have, the places you get to go, the things you'll get to be able to put on your resume later can also impress the potential employer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just took me a while to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I tend to promote college quite a bit. And I know I need to tone that down and talk more about experience and the adventure that we have and the fun and the camaraderie. And there's other benefits for joining this organization. But I just think to myself, like, if you're going to come work here 1 week in the month, 2 weeks in the summer, and you have the opportunity to go to college because it is paid for fairly well, and you do have opportunities to maybe go off and do ROTC and become an officer. I mean, there's a lot of benefit for a short amount of commitment. And that's why I say this to people that are joining. I say this to my soldiers every drill weekend. I say, go to college, because that's going to help you. Even in your military career, getting a college education helps you with your schooling, or helps you with your promotion. So you're talking about that. I haven't mentioned this before, but I received 33 college credits through post-university because of my military training. Mm-hmm. And it's because our training and doctrine command, TRADOC, they're equivalent to a college university. And so when we go through our training, it's just like attending a university in some form or fashion. You know, it's like I've gone to schools in the military and I had to write a 10-page paper. And I thought, how dumb is it that I need to write a 10-page paper for Army training? But we had to do something to make ourselves equivalent to a college. And so I had to write this APA paper in order to justify being awarded the college credit. And, you know, at the rate that I go, I take one class at a time. 33 college credits, like, save me a whole year's worth of, you know, going to school.
Yeah.
And it's, once again, based off of a lot of experience, because within our training, we have the education portion, we have the training, the hands-on, we make it practical. It's too easy. So, well, do you think we should wrap it up?
Well, did any questions come in?
I know we just got like a whole bunch of comments that came in, so let's see what they got here.
Oh boy.
I'm really good at talking. I'm not very good at answering the questions.
Well, nobody is on Facebook Live. It's hard to do both at the same time. So there's always this moment where the person is staring past the camera and trying to read, and it interrupts their train of thought, you know.
Yeah. That's a good comment, Brittany. You are, she wrote, it makes sense. You are a representative of that company and your image matters. It's very true. Like, what you do on and off duty is going to reflect that business as well. You know, I'll be honest with this. If you work for fast food or any other business and I pull up and you're wearing your uniform, and you're standing out there smoking a cigarette, like my first thought is like, you gotta go back in there and prepare my food. So kind of, or like, I don't like it when employees you're on your break. I get it, but you're sitting out in public where I'm thinking that you're still on duty, but you're not, even though it is your break, but I don't know it's your break. And I'm thinking like, where's the customer service? So that's a really good comment that if you're on or off duty, you're representing that business. Mm-hmm. Okay.
David Reek, Semper Fi. Somebody likes go for it and work out the details as you go. Mm-hmm. I actually put that into practice. Well, I guess when you launch your own business, you're kind of doing that. Mm-hmm. I actually put a podcast on iTunes. I got a podcast on iTunes. It was Be Positive. It's still, some of those episodes are still running around out there. But I couldn't believe I actually figured out a way to put it on iTunes. I didn't have it all figured out. I followed some directions and I got it on there. And exactly what I think of with work out the details as you go. Now, there is such a thing as best practices and some steps that you should take before you launch into something. You should be researched and you should be intelligent about it, have a plan. Mm-hmm. But there's that last 20% where you just don't know the answer to those questions, and that's where I'm talking about. You just do it.
Yeah, I tell those people all the time. If you sit in your car and it's not on, and you try and turn that steering wheel, it's locked up and you're not going to move. But even if you're just going 2 miles an hour, that power steering makes it so much easier to guide you and go down that road of life because you're out doing something, going in the right direction. And I believe when you're surrounded by positive people. Right? People are going to help guide you. And it's a big frustration of mine is people are like, I want to do it on my own. I want to do it on my own. Great. You are doing it on your own. But a wise man or woman will listen to the counsel of others and help let them speak into your life if they're a positive influence. They're going to help you grow in your career. I wouldn't be where I am today without many, many people that have spoken in my life positive things and helped guided me.
Yeah. And we all need those people for sure. Yep. Well, good stuff, cool. Man.
I definitely appreciate all your comments out there. And like I said, if you have any more questions, I can shoot them to him and he'll answer them, and we'll do something to get the knowledge to you. And
when that happens, I'll make sure to ask somebody else for their opinion, and I'll pass that along as though it's mine. Yeah. If I have some time to think about them a little bit.
Go out, research, and come back with an amazing answer.
That's right.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you for representing our community so well. Thank you for the dad and the husband that you are.
Thank you.
Man, you and I both live incredibly blessed lives. And I know there are a lot of people that would trade places with us if they could.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty spectacular place to be. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, for all of you out there that are watching, once again, thanks for hanging out with us. I hope you learned something today. If you do have more questions about the Oregon Army National Guard or his business, please feel free to hit up our websites. Mine's www.nationalguard.com, and yours is?
GoBPmedia.com.
Sweet. Thank you all for your time. Bye.